So I'm at my buddy's house, Ron, and he's complaining that this clock doesn't chime unless you move the hands. Well, the clock's been ticking away for an hour, and I put the hands at 2:30, and it's still at 2:30. And I'm going to show you something. It does strike. You see how the door bounces a little bit? And the reason why it doesn't strike is if this thing has got a regular 25 movement in it, the plastic wheel that is on the grate wheel, because it's a 1-day clock, is either cracked or this has got a count wheel movement in it, and I think it's got a count wheel movement in it, and the tension washer is too tight, which doesn't allow the tension washer is the washer that's under the intermediate wheel that connects to the minute wheel center arbor. If it's too tight, the hands won't turn. If it's too loose, then the hands will drop. And you could turn these hands, but it's kind of hard to turn. With the door bouncing like that and the style of the bird, I'm going to say that this clock's got a count wheel type movement in it, and I need to adjust the tension washer. Just as I was saying, it's got a count wheel style movement in it. And so the tension washer on the underneath the intermediate wheel is too tight. And the only way to fix it is to take this movement out of this clock case to fix it. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I got the movement out of the case, and the compression washer I'm talking about is right underneath this wheel. To take this pin out and loosen up the washer. This is the washer. In this particular case, it's got 5 fingers on it. So you just straighten them up a little bit and put it all back together. And you see the hole, that's where the pen goes in. If I could put the pen back in the hole. Now this thing should have a washer on top of it, because this is what holds the hour pipe from coming out. And as I rotate this, the pin itself is long enough to keep the hour pipe out.
You want to put away from mine?
No, we're good. It's not coming out. The pin's preventing it. So to see whether or not the wheels are going to move, take a permanent marker, put a line, and then activate the strike side. And get it to tick. And then keep an eye on the those black lines. And this one, it looks like somebody put a regular 25 strike side great wheel on it. This is not the original great wheel. Looks like it works. But we'll know here in a little bit on whether it works properly, because I want to see if those lines move. And if the cuckoo bird is bouncing, as it strikes, you see this lever here, it's not touching the wheel. You see it's knocking on it. So what you have to do, you have to bend it down toward that wheel. It needs to ride the wheel to prevent the bird from bouncing. But whatever you do, it affects everything else. So it's best to hold the wire and then push the rest down with your thumb if you can. It's still bouncing. So I'm going to try adjusting it again. Now it's not bouncing, so now the cuckoo bird shouldn't bounce. But while I have this out, the spring is not tight enough for me. So I'm going to tighten up the spring so the bird goes into the door better. I'm going to have to put other marks on this wheel because I turn the hands when I was showing you how it cuckooed. It eventually catch up with itself, but I'm just going to put more marks on it. And hit the strike, the time mode again, to see if those lines move. They look like they might be moving, but but I want to do it a little bit more just to make sure that they're moving. Because this camera's in my face, so I wouldn't swear to it that they're moving. I'm looking for the minute hand. Let's see if I can put it on and put it at the 12 o'clock position. And see if the minute hand moves. It looks like it's moving to me. Is it moving to you? If I get it to tick again. So the best way to find out is put this thing, and you see that? This came off, and it's not supposed to come off. So it does need a washer on it to prevent this from coming off. So now it has a washer so the hour pipe won't come off. So I got this movement on the stand. I don't have a pendulum on it. I got a weight on it. And I'm just gonna, I started with the hands at 12. There is some slack in the minute hand, so you can't go by that. And I'm just gonna walk away and see what time it is when I come back. As you can see, now the hands are moving. So now it's time to put this movement all back into the case. And again, it's called a clutch system. If your clutch is too tight, your hands won't move. Stupid camera. If your clutch is too loose, your hands will drop as it rotates, or it won't lift up as it leaves the 6 and going up to the 12. So the clutch system has to be just right in order for the hands to work. Now the ratchet system on this movement, it's working, but again, whoever owned this clock before, they didn't put the right wheel. You can find wheels through Time Savers for this movement. Not all movements, but I know you can find one for this movement because I got one similar to it at my house that I had to replace the movement. But you have to get the length of the shaft, the diameter of the wheel, and you got to count the teeth, and then you look at the pictures that is on Time Savers, and I'm going to show you that next. Now this is Time Savers online catalog. You search for cuckoo, scroll down, keep on it. There's 130 items that popped up, and you use this piece right here, and it'll bring you all your parts. But here it says number of teeth, length of arbor, brass wheel diameter. So you have to have all that information, and then you compare your wheel to the pictures here to find one. It shows you what the wheel looks like, and it shows you what the side section looks like. And they have more. Not every wheel out there, Time Savers isn't going to have every wheel. One of my YouTube subscribers and good friend, group member, Robert Lindsay, he's got an antique clock, cuckoo clock, that the diameter of his wheel is like 72, but the length of the arbor is longer, and the number of teeth is different. Anyway, his wheel is bigger than all the wheels that are listed here. And so, again, Time Savers doesn't have them all. They're only $4.50 or $5 each. So they're not that bad as far as price. And so, they do have some for the antique cuckoo clocks. For the count wheel style cuckoo clocks, okay? The great wheel in that clock, it's not the original wheel. It looks to me like it's a strike side wheel for regular 25 movement. Getting back to this cuckoo clock. Like I said, this wheel is not the proper wheel for this clock, but it works, so we're going to leave it at that. It ratchets, it makes the clock work, so I'm going to put it back together. Once you got the chains on the clock, you put the minute arbor in the hole that you hang the clock up with, and I already got one chain. As long as the chains are metal, original chains you couldn't do this with, they're brass, but you just drop the end of the chain down in the case, taking a magnetic screwdriver, put it in the hole that you want the chain to come out, and it grabs a hold of the chain. I found this so much easier. I used to use a pair of tweezers, and it was such a pain in the butt. This is so simple. See how fast it was? Now I got the chains in. Now I put the rest of the clock in. And once you put two screws in opposite of each other, turn the movement over to make sure that the minute arbor center wheel is not touching the case. If it's touching the case, you adjust the movement as long as you didn't tighten the screws down too much, which I did. Adjust the movement to where you got it exactly where you want. And then you tighten up those screws. And then you put the rest of the screws in. Because if the minute arbor center wheel is touching the case, that will stop your clock. It's too much friction. So it's not touching the case. I'm okay with it. So now I can put the rest of the screws in.